welcome back to my channel. So today I'm bringing a little bit of a different but a really fun video. Today I'm going to talk about, I guess, books that are out of my comfort zone, or books in genres that are more so out of my comfort zone, but they're ones that I'm really interested in, I really want to read, and I want to share them with y'all, get your input. Do y'all think I would like it? Do you not think I would like it? If you haven't read them before, would you be interested in seeing me read them? So I'm really excited about this one. Let's just go ahead. Let's get into it. Okay, the first book, which I'm just going to be looking on my mama's phone. The first book is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Now, this is like a YA fantasy book. I don't know if it's clean, but I've heard a lot of things about it. I feel like people either love or hate this series. I think it's a trilogy. This is what it looks like. The Cruel Prince. And I'm pretty sure, I'm trying to go into a lot of these blind, but some I already know what they're about. So I'm not going to read like the backs of the books. But it's YA fantasy. I think it has to do with like fairies, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure, but it is YA, and I wanted to read it for so long, but I'm just hesitant because fantasy is just not my wheelhouse. The only fantasy I think that you consider that I've ever read is Harry Potter. The next one is another like YA fantasy, is Caraval. I know this is so popular. Let me show you up here. I'm not used to doing this, so bear with me. But is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. And I know a little bit more about this one. So it's about this girl who has a sister, and I think that their father like might not be the best person, but there is this like event that happens on like another part of like their world that's called Caraval, and it's basically where these people go and compete in like this competition and go through these like series of challenges to try to win. And I think, long story short, like the girl's sister, but she's always wanted to, like, the main girl has always wanted to go and like see this event and experience it, but her sister ends up getting kidnapped, and then she has to end up going into the Caraval event and participating in order to get her sister back. It sounds intriguing to me. I know there's been so much hype around this book. It just seems really interesting to me, and I think it's a trilogy as well. And then the picture's sent out of order, but the next one that is also by Stephanie Garber is Once Upon a Broken Heart. I'm not gonna lie, the first time that I saw this book was on Bookstagram, and one of my friends on there posted the special edition cover to this book. It was literally like this lilac-y, sparkly, iridescent purple, and I just immediately wanted to know what this book was because I literally wanted the cover. Now, this is just the original cover, but that was like the special edition. And if I'm not mistaken, this is a trilogy too, and I think it's one of Stephanie Garber's newer books to come out, but it's a trilogy, and I have seen it is possibly about vampires. Not 100% sure, but I have read the back of it, and I think it's essentially about this girl who like ends up falling in love with this guy, and she only gets granted like 3 kisses, and she can, only use these kisses in a specific way. And it sounds kind of silly, but I don't know. I was sucked in by the cover, and then it also has a lot of hype. And if I'm not mistaken, I was told that you should, if you plan on reading the Once Upon a Broken Heart book trilogy, or the rest of the books in the trilogy, you should read Caraval first, because there's a little bit of a spoiler in this first book that I showed you to Caraval's ending, I think. So there's that, in case you didn't know. Then the next one is, I think this is just a regular fantasy, but it's Christian fantasy, and I know a lot of you have probably seen the hype on BookTube about this, especially from like Amanda and Sky and Chrissy's Purple Library, and I know Lindsay Lemus has talked about it as well. She doesn't have a channel though, but she is on Bookstagram, and it is Wistress by Nadine Brandes, and I'm almost positive that Celestia has talked about this as well. This just seems very intriguing to me. Let's be honest, the cover is just, this is not even doing it justice. Like, the cover just looks so gorgeous. And if I'm not mistaken, the main girl in the book has this power, and her tears grant wishes. But something happens, I think, and the next tear that she cries or the next tear that falls will kill her. And so I think it's her on a journey to, do something before her next tear falls and she dies. I hear the faith is immaculate. Do I need to say any more? I think I might read this next month. I'm not sure. I might, buddy. I think me and Pages of Blessings, Brooke, are going to buddy read this. So I'm so excited to read this book. The next one is, well, the next two are actually recommendations. I'm pretty sure Sam and Celestia, the book bunch, and then Celestia recommended these to me. I think it was on their Reading Sprints Live a couple weeks ago. And the first one is The Final Empire, the Mistborn series, book 1 by Brandon Sanderson. Did they recommend this to me? If y'all didn't, I'm sorry, but I know they for sure recommended the next one. I have just seen a lot of hype around Brandon Sanderson in general, and then this Mistborn book series. I know nothing about it. This is one that I have not read anything about it. I'm very intrigued by this cover though, and I don't know. I have just seen so much about Brandon Sanderson, and I'm pretty sure they mentioned on the live when I asked them what their favorite fantasy book was that, is relatively clean or into a Christian. This is not Christian, I don't think, but I think it is clean. And it's The Final Empire, Mistborn book 1. So if y'all have read this, let me know your thoughts. I did not want to read the back of it because, again, I'd kind of like to go in a little blind. And the next one is by Morgan L. Is it Busse or Bussy? Morgan L. Busse. I naturally just read it and said Busse, but is it Bussy? It's Mark of the Raven series. And again, I have heard so much hype about this, and I have no idea what it's about, but I would really love to read it. So if y'all have read this, please let me know. So that is it for like the YA, the fantasy genre. And then the next one is two that are Christian biblical historical fiction. And yeah, I read A Voice in the Wind, and I'm reading An Echo in the Darkness, and those are biblical historical fiction. But I am not that's like the first historical biblical fiction that I've read. I don't know if Redeeming Love would be considered that, but if so, then that means I've only read technically 2. And I've just thoroughly enjoyed reading A Voice in the Wind, and it kind of opened my eyes up to, I really don't mind reading about historical and or biblical times. It's just war that I don't like. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but I really have had my eye on this. I've heard amazing things about Tessa Afshar, and it's Jewel of the Nile. I read the back of this, and it just kind of gripped my heart. It just seems so just beautiful, and I just had a feeling like the faith in it was just going to be immaculate. I don't know why. And just something about this precious girl on the cover just draws me in. And I feel like I've had a lot of BookTube and Bookstagram friends talk about Tessa Afshar, and then this book in particular. And then another one is Iscariot by Tosca Lee. I haven't heard nothing but great things about this. And this is essentially about Judas Iscariot, and I think it's like from his birth to when he dies, and it's biblical fiction, and it's just about his life and his walk, and a take on what his life looked like during these times and walking with Jesus, and the betrayal and all of those things. I've heard nothing but amazing things. I really wanted to try out Tosca Lee because, again, I've heard amazing things. So I I'm very excited. And there's many more biblical fiction books that I've seen. There's one by like Misu Andrews that, what did she say? Miriam said that was like similar in vibes to Redeeming Love because it is based upon the actual book of Hosea. I'll put that book up here in case y'all are interested in it. I just didn't really plan on including that in this series, but it is totally something that is a little bit out of my comfort zone. And my eyes have been opened up to, you know, biblical historical fiction. Like, this was a great way to have, yes, like a fictional story, but to have these things that really are biblical and things that really had gone on during these biblical times in history that really helped me understand better and grasp more of the severity of certain things going on. So this is just, maybe I can make this a series, you know, a book series on books out of my comfort zone that I plan on reading. So this is just a taste of some of these books and genres that are out of my comfort zone that I do want to read. We all know that I am very much a romance reader, and I was reading a little bit of mystery there for a while too, but like I am just all enthralled in all of my romance books right now. But I really want to pick up some of these books, especially in the new year in 2023, broaden my horizons a little bit. And I think it'll be really fun. I know a lot of people have really wanted to see like a reading vlog with me reading a book out of my comfort zone. I thought about doing that with Wistress. So I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please let me know any of your favorite books in any of these genres below. I'd love to know. And if you read any of these books that I've mentioned, please let me know what you thought. Give me your honest thoughts. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? Why not? And if you all would be interested in this being a series and I just continue on making videos every little bit on books that I want to read that are out of my comfort zone, I can continue to do that. I think that would be so much fun. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you so much for being here. I hope you all are having such a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.